Dalton, after the game against Argentina, you spoke about one more week for greatness. So how are you sort of feeling about that right now?
I think the boys are in a pretty good spot. Like I said in that comment, this is the moment on top of the mountain that everyone chases. Every kid, growing up, you sort of have that thought, oh man, one day I'd love to be there, but to make it a reality and to go through all the hard yards, getting to this game. It's going to be a big one, and this is the game that we got to leave it all out there. So looking forward to it.
And how do you manage to keep yourself down before the actual game and not play the test before you get there?
Yeah, it can be tricky, but the one thing that we know, some of us players, we look up to the leadership, and they keep harping on about sticking to the process, sticking to the plan that's got us to where we are now. Week by week, just focusing on that and not overthinking it too much, because the process is what has got us here right now. So I could sound like a broken record saying it, but it literally is. You just got to stick to the plan and the process week by week.
Dalton, if you think back to sort of South Africa, I suppose, last year when Jace came in, took over with the forwards, what are the biggest sort of differences or improvements that you're seeing in the forward pack now compared to back then? And how influential has Jace been in that space?
He's probably been one of the best forwards coaches that I've had, and I've only had him for a short amount of time. I had him in under-20s, but seeing his growth from there to when he came into the All Blacks, he holds everyone accountable. You could have 100 games or even one game, and he'll still call you out, and it sort of keeps you on your toes, which is a good thing. It's pressure will always hold you accountable, and he does that. And the good thing is that I'm pretty sure you're well aware of that he's got good banter as well. So, he's a mate, but also he'll hold you accountable when you're on the job. So, he's been massive for the shift in the forwards, and I think he's in a pretty good area at the moment.
Shannon, would you agree with that? And we're seeing you're in great form this year. How influential has Jason been in helping you discover that form?
Yeah, like Dalton said, one thing I learned from Chase is his balance between his connection with his players and just off rugby as well. Yeah.
Dalton down the back. Do you still have to pinch yourself in this sort of situation? Kid from Pakuranga, all of a sudden about to play in a World Cup final. Does it seem real?
Oh, I think going throughout the week, day by day, you sort of, like I said before, you're sticking to the process, so you're used to the plan and in the week, so you're sort of not really thinking about it too much. But I think it will probably hit me when it probably comes to captain's run or the morning of the game, where you think this is it, and it's going to be a lot of excitement levels in there. But I think what the leaders have done real well in this team is being able to put a cap on it and think, okay boys, realize that you're feeling this right now, but enjoy it. But when the whistle blows, we've got a job to do. And I think it makes it more clear in the head, where we talk about, having fire in the belly and ice in the head. So we don't want to think about it too much, but I do have little moments throughout the day where I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is how good.
I mean, because you were national under-20s and Blues, a lot of hard work, a lot of different teams to get to this, but do you take a step back sometimes and think like that? Leading into, say, a World Cup final, being an All Black in a World Cup final.
I think you do still to sort of step back, but you got to really know your role within a team. And I know my role is coming here, and I'm trying to bring energy where we need it, and also just knowing my role, because if I don't know my role, then I'm letting the team down. So I think everyone has different roles within the team, and going forward.
Does this place remind you of St Kitts?
Oh, St Kitts is a little bit better, but no.
Shannon, how big is it for you, your family, your culture to be in a Rugby World Cup final this weekend?
It's pretty excited. My first time on a World Cup final, but at the end of the day, it's 80-minute rugby. It's the same as last week.
Dalton, South Africa's got the bomb squad. As a reserves bench, do you have a name for yourselves? And what kind of mentality do you take into games?
Oh, yeah. Well, funny this, I'll tell you a quick story. We're actually starting to watch, I've got a little group happening in the team room at our hotel, and we're watching Band of Brothers and the 101st Airborne and the Easy Company. So I made a little joke, saying, they got the bomb squad, and so we could have the Easy Company, which we want to go in and finish the job and be in the trenches. But talking about the bomb squad, man, they've proven themselves, and they can come on and change a game like that. So we've just sort of need to identify, whoever's on the bench and that need to really be screwed on up top and give it hell.
Dalton, I'm not sure how much you players are focused or even following the Bongi situation, but broadly speaking, how important is it that racism has no place in the game, and how important is it for you that the players are held accountable for something bigger than just the sport? Yeah,
100%. I'm against racism, and I think All Blacks as an organisation and players, we are fully against it. But I think there's been allegation, but there's nothing been proven. So I can't really have anything to say on that, because whether true or not, I don't know. So, but I just want to know that all of us are against racism, and it shouldn't be in our game. But I'm not going to comment on that because I'm not too sure if it's true or not. So.
Dalton, the squad's likely to evolve again. Sorry, it's going to evolve again after this tournament. But how special a moment will it be when Aaron leads the haka on Saturday night, particularly for the All Blacks who are going to be moving on after this tournament?
Yeah, he's gonna be real excited. He's gonna probably feel a lot of emotions, but he's another man when I talk about leaders who he's got plans in place to, pinch himself in moments, thinking I'm in this moment now, like. How exciting, but then he can flick a switch and be like, yeah, I'm into game mode now. So, and there's a few leaders in the team that, it's going to be their last sort of game in the jersey. So it's a big game for us, and even the other players who are staying, knowing that we want to send those boys out on a high. How much they've put into the jersey. We're standing on their what's that quote? It's standing on the shoulders of giants, and I think they're the ones. You like that? Yeah, you like that? Yeah, yeah. So I think we got to give a lot back to them. And Nuggie, Aaron Smith, he's been at the head of the team for years now, and he's been playing the best footy. So pretty excited for him.
Shannon, any quotes from you?
Nah.
Adults talking about those giants, Brodie and Sam are certainly giants of the All Blacks. They've been there, obviously, the whole time you've been in the All Blacks. What have you learned from those two, particularly, and as they get ready for their final All Blacks test? What will you remember most about those two guys, about what the tone they've set for this forward pack?
I think both of them are two different people. One probably has a little bit more of a cool head, where the other one can give it hell, and that's the balance they have between each other when they're both playing together. That's what makes them so good, is because they're both ends of the spectrum, but it would just work so well together. But probably what I've learned from them is, they're who they are. That all the ego or how much you put them on a pedestal. When you still go out and have a beer with them and all that, it's still them, and you can have a little banter with them and stuff like that, and that's what sort of makes those sort of relationships special, because you're not looking up to them like, oh, you're not nervous. They're making you feel welcomed, and those are two boys that have made me feel very welcomed when I did come into the team. And I remember I was the only one in that year for my first year coming in, so it was a bit daunting, but Whitelock and Brodie made it so much easier for the transition into being young and coming in and making me feel welcome. So I sound like a broken record, but I have a lot to give for those leaders in the team, and those two men have been awesome in my career.